Hey gamers, me, Light Spiller, and I'm back to do a new video. And in this video, this is something I've been wanting to talk about, and it's my top 5 PlayStation 3 games. So what I wanted to do is talk about all my top 5s, but I wanted to only keep it to a measure of exclusives, because I know that we have third party, we got indies that came along later on in the generation. But I wanted to stick to the exclusives because it just makes it easier. Maybe I'll do a top 5 later on, kind of talking about what I expect out of, or what I liked out of the PlayStation 3 versus what was on the 360 and how I felt about it and what seemed better and what felt better. So my number 5 actually is going to be Infamous, the original. This awesome title. If you have not copped this game, definitely pick it up. As you can see, it's the red copy, so it was a million seller. This basically stars protagonist by the name of Cole McGrath, and what happens is that he basically brings this package that's containing this secret thing or whatever, and it explodes. In the midst of the explosion, it causes him to have these powers. Well, if you look at the story, if you watch the story and the narration of this, he was already going to go through this experience as far as being able to receive a power. He's the type of person that, I'm trying to think of what they're called, but basically they inherit their powers. They're different, like they're unlike human beings. And so Cole has this ability to control the weather as far as electricity, thunder, all kinds of storm and all kinds of situation. But through the course of the story, you begin to draw a connection with Cole and his buddies along the way. And it's been a while since I played it, so I'm trying to remember the character. Zeke is his name, his good buddy, and you actually see the development of him, Cole, and he becomes aware of his power and what his power can actually do and how it can actually benefit him. So it's a really good story. I like that it splits up moralistically. You got the bad karma, you got good karma, and the game completely plays out differently, how the city responds to you being bad or good, and even the ending, the middle, all that, the whole storyline. I love the artistic comic strip feel to it and everything. The illustrations is perfect. Soundtrack is phenomenal. There's a little bit of repetitiveness in there, and there's a little bit of things that will probably get on you there, but you got to remember this was an early title from Sucker Punch on the PlayStation 3, but still it's one of my favorites. Now my number 4 is going to be Uncharted 2. This one is still to this day one of my favorites. It's easily one of my favorites just because of the fact that I love the climactic feel to it, how it would build up to all these moments, and it was non-stop. Like there was a time he was on a train, or a time he was in the mountains, or a time he was in summer climate. You always were on an adventure and always changing and moving, and Drake, he took you on this incredible ride. I find it better than all 4 of them. Out of the 4, which I beat them all, this one still is my favorite. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed all the characters, Chloe, Sully. I mean, everybody had their own special connection, and like I always tell you guys, if I don't connect with the character, then I'm not going to like the game. This game is definitely recommended to play. You don't have to play part 1 in order to enjoy part 2, so I would definitely recommend picking this up. Now my number 3 comes in from Naughty Dog, and it's Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us. I love the illustration. The big thing that caught me off or drew me in about this game was the post-apocalyptic zombie type feel. I know a lot of games have done it, but it's the grittiness, the griminess, the dark edge of bringing these bringing these characters to the brink of just insanity and just wanting to lose it and go off. But it was that man versus zombie, life trying to survive, and that's what the game is really centered around, is survival. And the way Naughty Dog, the way they run the engine, much like they did with Uncharted, they push the PlayStation to its full capability, and they keep you locked in. This game, everything seems so lifelike. Now this is a game that did go on the PlayStation 3 and later on in the early stages of the PlayStation 4, one of the first remastered games, but the soundtrack, the characters, yet again, is an awesome connection. You begin to see the void that Joel had in his life with the passing of his daughter early on in the game. It's not a spoiler, but then you see that Ellie becomes that void that's filled in his life, and she takes over, and she becomes all those things. He becomes more like a father figure, even though she's got this pushback attitude and this independent spirit and wanting to be herself. There's transitions within the game that you get to play both characters at different times, and if you haven't tried out the DLC, definitely need to try it. I'm not a big fan of DLC, but this is one of those games where I would highly recommend it. Next game is Ni no Kuni by the developers of Level 5, one of my favorite developers. They developed one of my favorite titles, Rogue Galaxy. The illustration, the character, this is pretty much an animation masterpiece. You feel like you are in the midst of a cartoon, but it's lifelike. It stars a character by the name of Oliver, who his mother becomes very ill, and he's heartbroken, but in the midst of these things, yet again, he did not know the power that was within him. He crosses over to another world. His toy, which is Drippy, becomes his kind of road dog or sidekick, and he takes him along, and he opens up this whole nother world where the perception of Oliver is seen completely different. He has all these powers, all this mystifying things that's lying within him. Well, you go along this journey pretty much as an evolutional step towards becoming this magician or powerful wizard or whatever. And it's one of those great JRPGs. It's an action, so there is non-stop moments. There are great music, great soundtrack, illustrations on point. There's a deep, profound connection that I begin to have with Oliver and his life, and wanting to see what would happen next. And they already announced part 2, so I'm pretty pumped about that, even though from the looks of it, it looks like he's not going to be in it. I hope they do a bridge between the characters, because I hate when they do a sequel and they don't bridge the characters together and they leave things out of the mist. And my number 1 comes in with God of War 3. I've claimed this to be my title, my favorite game of all time. I have to say this was a masterpiece in my eyes, because of the landscape and the magnitude of your bosses. They pretty much took up the whole screen, just like we're dealing with Gaia or Poseidon or Hermes or Helios or Hades. I've played this game numerous times to completion on all modes and stuff like that, and I have such a deep, profound love for this game that I saved each boss battle so I can go back anytime I want to. But this was a proper way to end a trilogy. It pretty much takes off with going through the course of Kratos' life, what happened with him with Ares, the battle, the deceitfulness from the gods. Now he's going out with a vengeance to take out everybody, including his father, which is Zeus. This game is easily one of my favorite games. It's easily my favorite game on the PlayStation. I still go back and play it occasionally. I probably will fire it up just because, but those are my top 5. What are your top 5s? Tell me down in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. As always, I'm Light Spiller.